Hello, my name is Matthew, and recently I had been talking about objectively good storytelling, the idea of objectivity and subjectivity when it comes to the arts, in particular literature, pretty much fiction, talking about made up stories, novels, and recently I had my read along with Steve Donahue reading Brideshead Revisited, and I made videos each week talking about uh, my experience with reading a quarter of the book each week, and it was a new book, and most of each video I was talking about how confused I was. I was at a loss. I was not really understanding what was happening, and importantly, confused about where the story was going. How is it going to end? And that's a result of reading a new book and trying to talk about my experience uh, as a new reader and making a video each week. Um, and those two things, so um, the idea of subjectivity and objectivity when we talk about books, the second part would be confusion, being confused about what we read. Both of those things made me think about credibility, um, how we believe the reviews or reaction videos from other people, how we talk about books, and um, how credible a review can be. Of course, I'm mostly talking about myself, and I think about my little uh, book channel, and one of the first main um, aspects of my channel that I thought about even before um, my first video, a year before I made my first video, and I thought about what my channel would be like. And I've, I thought about what do I have to bring to the table. Um, I'm not a book reviewer. I don't have credentials or qualifications in the sense of having an English degree or having works in print. I'm not a writer. I don't have published stories or anything like that. Um, and I'm not necessarily even a great reader. I've read a lot, but um, maybe not the most perceptive. I don't know. What I did have are my friends, and we would get together and we would have our little pile of stuff. Um, I have a friend that's a woodworker and in a rock band, and he would talk about his woodworking projects and being on tour and playing playing music. And if we were talking over coffee, um, I had been reading my books, and so that was my little thing. And I would tell a story. I would say I was reading this book, and this is what happened. Um, and I wasn't giving a book report. I was um, trying to have a good conversation. I wanted to take, like everybody does, you want to take your experiences and talk to your friends in a way that allows you to keep your friends, the people that want to keep listening to you. And when I started my channel, I made a conscious choice not to do any. I made a conscious choice not to do any research or preparation. I wanted my thoughts and feelings about the books that I was reading, the novel that I had most recently read and wanted to talk about. I wanted it to be, as best I could, a recreation of an entertaining story that I would tell a friend, but also really just based on what I know. And I feel like that approach has lended itself very well to whatever sort of credibility I feel comfortable with. And it is also what I look for when I listen to anybody talk about any sort of arts, music or television or literature, and it's knowledgeable authenticity. When you listen to somebody talk and they seem to know what they're talking about, they can be entertaining and engaging, and insightful and instructive, but also coming from a place that isn't false. It's a clear depiction of somebody's sensibilities, and that was very important to me. And to go back to subjectivity, objectivity, and then also confusion. If you've watched any handful of my videos, or if you're a new viewer, hello. I often get things wrong. I get confused. I misremember character traits or characters or the activities of characters. I can kind of muddle up plot, even major plot points of a book. Maybe I get kind of confused. I don't take any notes, like I said, or preparation. I mispronounce things all the time. Authors' names, characters' names, the titles of books. What I do think, with all of those defects, shortcomings, or faults, I don't find them personally that important for what I'm trying to do, which is give the spirit of the book, my overall big impression of the book. I could just as easily, if I wanted to, read a book, read various introductions, go onto Wikipedia, Google reviews and articles, and maybe talk in a much more informative, professional way about a story, an author, or a certain novel, or collected works, or any of those things, and potentially say all of the things that are all already available for anybody that wants to do the research anyway. Um, I'm not giving any sort of substitute to the experience of reading the book. It's mostly just an appreciation of the book, or whatever I might be talking about. And um, to have uh, uh, this sort of kind of wraps everything up as much as I can. Um, Being honest and starting at a place of, um, like I said, I don't have any degrees in literature. I'm not an art critic. I'm not a professor. I'm not a working writer. But like everybody that is out reading, my main qualification is that I've read the books. And I might not get certain things right. I might not be the most perceptive reader, but um, I can talk about my experience reading those books. And I feel like if it's done in an honest way, in a place that um, isn't adding on extra trappings, not trying to seem as if um, I know everything there is to know about Virginia Woolf or whatever. Um, the conversation becomes much better. And through the time that I've had my channel, um, I've had wonderful interactions uh, with a good handful of people, a lot of people correcting me, telling me I'm wrong, I messed up some plot point in some book, or I mispronounce something. Uh, the one that always comes to mind is Turgenev, which I'm never even sure if I get right. I initially I said Turgenev because I'd never heard anybody pronounce it before. I'd only seen it in print, and years and years ago, I had a mental idea of how it sounded, and it stuck, and that's um, what I thought. If I was acting as if I know everything there is about Russian literature, and I've done all of my research and talked in a certain way, there would be a hostility in the dialogue, which would be justified, which isn't there when you're honest with where you're coming from. Um, I'm reading books that I enjoy and trying to talk to you or talk to anyone that's watching um, as best as I can, the way that I would talk to a friend of mine over coffee or a beer. And the credibility comes in with all of your friends, which is the cumulative effect of multiple conversations, multiple coffees, multiple beers, um, and earning trust. Um, at least a trust in um, um, whoever you're talking to. I'm talking about myself at the moment, but um, the authenticity behind where you're coming from. I don't know if I'm saying that quite right, but um, um, it can be subjective or objective. A conversation with a friend can be confusing and frustrating, um, but you stack up um, all of the things that you love, and it can outweigh um, minor little quibbles that don't really mean much. Um, and I've been thinking about this a lot, having a little channel where I'm um, trying to do the best I can, talking about the books that I read, um, which may or may not be um, subjective or objective, or the most clear-minded, the most perceptively uh, read renderings of uh, whatever I'm reading, and credibility. I think is hugely important. Um, I often get a lot of things um, wrong. I hope that the credibility still comes through, and I know that it does because the conversations that we have um, are productive. Um, I don't know if I've ever had somebody leave a comment saying like um, uh, acting as if they're catching me out on saying something that I said was absolutely true or anything like that, and it adds to the conversation. I'm well, anyway. I've talked too long, um, and I'm not sure if I made any sense. But there was a few things that had been on my mind. Um, if you're wondering, I had a very minor medical procedure today. Everything went well, but um, that's why I have the bandages. Might also be why I'm not uh, making the most sense. But um, let me know what you think. Leave a comment if you would like. Thank you for watching, and take care.